So today I'm talking about why white or bluish smoke might appear when your vehicle first starts up, but then it disappears, and how you go about fixing it. So what is the most common cause for this? Well, the most common cause is going to be valve seals. And it could be some other things, which I'll also go over. But the most common cause of this is the valve seals. And what are the valve seals? Well, they're just small little components that go on to every single valve, and they help keep the oil on one side of the valve so that it stays lubricated, and they keep the oil from going into the combustion chamber, which otherwise would burn and cause smoke. And on the top of each engine is valves. You'll have intake and exhaust valves on every engine, and on the top they need to stay lubricated, and on the bottom they can't have the oil drip into the combustion chamber, or else it'll be ignited by the spark plug and it'll burn and it'll go out the exhaust as a white or bluish smoke. And so these valve seals, they keep that oil on one side of the valve. And while valve seals is the most common issue, there is some other possible things. Worn rings can also cause smoke, but usually when you have worn rings, it'll smoke all the time. So if your vehicle is smoking all the time and when it warms up the smoke doesn't go away, then very likely you have worn rings. But if the smoke does go away after it warms up, then it's very likely valve seals. Some other possible causes, although not too common, it could be a head gasket. Condensation could be forming in the engine overnight and then burning off, and possibly an intake manifold is leaking. And in some cases, there's also some manufacturer-specific problems. For example, Volkswagen has an engine oil separator on some VWs, and that notoriously causes white smoke when the engine first starts up until it warms up. So there is some cases of that, but the most common cause is going to be valve seals. And so if you took it to a mechanic, what they would do is they'd come through and they replace every single one of these valve seals all the way through the engine. And there can be 2 to 4 valves per cylinder. So if you have a V8 engine, that could be 16 to 32 valve seals that need to be replaced. They'll use a special tool to help compress this spring, and they'll insert a new valve seal onto every single one of these valves, and that would solve the problem. There is another method that's commonly used, and that's the use of additive. And what this does is it helps revive the valve seals so that they seal up again. And this is a very common method, especially if the vehicle just started smoking on startup. I'll jump over on Amazon and give you an idea of what it looks like. There's different types of oil seal repair additives. I've used this one with good results, but there is different types. I'll put links down below for everything I'm looking at. But basically you add this into the engine oil, then you drive the vehicle for like 100 miles or so, and this often clears up the problem, especially on vehicles that have just started having this problem. If your engine has high mileage and it's been doing this for a while, then it might not help it out so much, and those valve seals might need to be replaced. And depending on the engine, it can be kind of an expensive repair, so it might be best just to rebuild the whole engine at that point. Of course, every scenario is going to be different, but it can be a good idea to first at least try the oil additive, because that very likely will help you, especially if the vehicle just started to smoke. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a real quick brief overview of why white or bluish smoke appears on startup, but then it disappears after the vehicle warms up, and the basics of how you go about fixing it. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.